Hello, YouTube. It's time for another episode of The Apocalypse. I use this forum to discuss creative, political, or social issues that interest me. Everything discussed in this video are my personal opinion. Please feel free to listen and reply or ignore anything which I say. Tonight I have decided to tackle the subject of gender. I have been thinking about this subject quite a bit lately, for a variety of reasons. The first was Lacey Green's questions to viewers on her channel about a month ago. Then Blair White's apology video to Riley Dennis last week. And then lastly, a video by a new YouTuber, President Hanash. This question has been plaguing a lot of my thoughts. In the last few months, I have watched quite a few videos by Lacey, Riley, Milo, Blair, and others on both sides of this discussion. I've heard interesting and sometimes logical arguments from both sides. Lacey having the best video from multiple genders, and Miss Blair White with the anti-side. Besides hearing so much about the subject lately, I have been thinking on this, as I am a person who does not fit fully within one gender or another, though I do know what gender I identify as. The discussion had my attention. It made me think in ways that challenged my reality and my sense of self. My conclusion, after listening to both sides of this discussion, doing my own research and a lot of self-reflection, is that the issue falls a bit on both sides. In a way, both sides are correct. They're just not speaking the same language. I personally believe there are two genders, male and female. However, within these two genders is where the spectrum the feminists and SJWs talk about falls. Some males act very feminine. Some females act very masculine. Everyone leans more towards one side or the other. When I was growing up, a feminine male was called an effeminate male, or some not so nice terms. A female who acted masculine was simply a tomboy. But in the end, it was still a male, it was still a female. It comes down to degrees of masculinity or femininity. There is not more than one gender, just a spectrum of male and female. Those who claim to be non-binary, they sit on more towards the middle of the spectrum. They're not a new gender, just confused into which one they truly identify with, and that's okay. As I said earlier, I'm a person who does not fit the norm for my gender. I do not possess many of the physical or social expectations of my gender, and I do get misgendered regularly. I still identify as my gender of birth. I have also known a few transgender and non-binary people over the years. From my own personal experiences, I've not seen anything that has convinced me that there is more than two genders, even with my non-binary friends. With all discussions of gender, there's always a discussion of gender pronouns and misgendering. I personally do not care what someone wants to be called. It's not a bad thing, and it doesn't affect me in any way to call someone by one pronoun or another. If the person requests that I use a specific pronoun and they are respectful about it, I will probably do so and do my best to accommodate them. However, it would be appreciated if they understand that this is probably something new to me, and I might slip up from time to time. As an example, I have no problem calling Blair White or Riley Dennis she. I used to have a lot of issue with doing with Riley. However, that was not due to her being trans. It was due to the way that she presented herself, and how most of her videos came off as an attack. Respect is something that is earned. When someone meets people or are talking to a group of strangers, the first thing you need to do is be humble and respectful towards those people. If you start off your conversation as rude or demanding, they will become defensive and close-minded to your requests. This is not phobia. This is natural human nature. It's fight or flight. When I call someone who does not know me, or receive a phone call from someone, normally a telemarketer, 9% of the time, I'm misgendered by the person on the other end. I have also had that happen on several occasions in face-to-face conversations. When this happens, I don't get angry. I don't yell at the person. To be honest, most of the time I just ignore it as it will derail the conversation, and I just want to get them off the phone. Occasionally, though, I will politely correct the person. They'll apologize, I'll say no problem, and the conversation will continue. If they slip up again, I just let it go. The reason for this is politeness and respect. People, for the most part, do not misgender other people to be rude, or mean, or because they're phobic. Most of the time, it's an accident. Our minds process information based on our past occurrences and references. We see, hear, smell, and process all information based solely on our past. If a person sees someone wearing a dress with long hair, their prior experiences will probably tell them the person's female. If they see someone dressed in a suit with short hair, their experiences will probably tell them the person is male. As a society, today, we have little to no context in which to associate non-binary, gender non-conforming people. There are no visual cues to tell someone that a person in front of them is a Z, or whatever term you want to use. And as more terms are added, it's going to cause more confusion within today's society. Most of the time that I have witnessed a misgendering occur, the person who is misgendered gets upset and rude. Now, if this is a case of a male being called Miss or a female being called Sir, the offending party will normally apologize. The reason for this is due to the prior knowledge. People know and understand male and female, and if asked politely, generally will have no issue calling someone he or she, even if they look like the other gender. And sometimes even if it's not done politely, because they still understand the concept of he or she. However, in the case of non-binary, you're now running into a situation that the offending party is not equipped to understand. If the non-binary gets upset and aggressive, the understanding gets even harder, as the person now feels like they're being attacked. If the non-binary is polite and informs the offending party of their preferred pronoun, you might get a better response. Not always, because again, past experiences, some people just don't like change. This positive response is not guaranteed, as once again, you're inducing something new, something that the other party has no experience with. So these are my thoughts. I'm open to hearing other points of view and opinions on this matter. I love free and open debate and would appreciate polite discussion or responses. Please feel free to leave comments on anything I've discussed, or even feedback on the presentation of this video. Without constructive criticism, no one improves, and ideas can never be changed. Thank you, and good night.